Hey family, it's Tasha. Ooh, my throat. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel where we just talk about preparedness, emergency preparedness, catastrophes, different things that could happen to you and your family. Really, we just talk about what me and my family do, and hopefully that puts you on game and gives you some ideas for you and yours. Now, today, I want to jump right into it. Get your drink, pull up. We're going to talk about, I guess not a very glamorous, again, I'm trying to do these topics of just real life stuff that we need to prepare for. And rodents, small animals, larger life-threatening animals, all of those things we need to prepare for. And it's super, super important to get these into your preps, because it's one of those things when you need it and you don't have it, it's just gonna make life miserable, right? If you have for example, you have a stockpiled food, you find some food where a rat or a mouse or whatever has gotten into it and you have a problem, you can see the droppings everywhere and you're not able to set a trap, get something to get rid of that, get them out of there, that can be a problem. You're going to have to be very, very creative. So I think the time is now. Again, we have a lot of stuff on the horizon, a lot of things that could disrupt once, war and stuff moves forward. There's a lot of stuff that's going to disrupt our supply chain, and it's going to be difficult to just buy things. You're not going to be able to just go on Amazon and be like, oh, I need a mouse trap, or hey, I need this, I need that, right? If there's a bank collapse, I always do that and my ear is so big. If there's, a collapse of the banks and you can't get your money out, there's no going to the Dollar Tree to even get some mouse traps. So, got to ensure that you have certain things that you're thinking about this area and getting those things in your preparedness items. So today we're going to talk about 3 kind of areas, if you will. We're going to talk about small, like rodents, insects, and rodents. We're going to talk about a little bit smaller, like nuisance animals. And then we're going to talk about like life-threatening animals and how do you prepare. So starting with the little stuff, this could be stuff like roaches. This could be ants, an ant problem. Last year I had an ant problem, and it wasn't in the house at all. It was on a sidewalk that's outside, and they just love this one section of this sidewalk. And a lot of people will be like, well, why'd you mess with them? Why would you, and I'm like, no. There was like thousands of them, and I had no idea where they planned on going, where their destination was. And so I took them out. And let me tell you, the little buggers was strong. Okay. I came back. They had come back in full force. And so I had to change up my tactic, because I did try to do a more, I don't know if it's humane, but I tried to just blast them out with water, right? And I blasted them out, but they just came back together like, we're back, we can do this, we'll survive, right? So these stinking ants, I had to actually spray them out with an actual ant spray, right? So ants, roaches, any kind of small things. This could be flies. Baby in my garden last year had an issue with some flies. They really, really wanted to be in this one area. I was like, I can't have it. And I set a trap. Okay. Some flies are okay. Ecosystem as a whole, everything plays its part, but it was way out of control in this one area. And so I just had to handle it. And so there's different traps for that. So it doesn't matter what you're looking for, you're going to be able to find it. Mice traps, mouse traps, rat traps, anything, even like I just mentioned, Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree has mice traps that I used before. They work phenomenal. They're just like kind of a one use. I suppose you could get in there, unclip it, clip the stuff, take the mouse off and reset it. If you had gloves and you really came down to, you need to reuse these because you don't have that many. It's possible, but obviously they're Dollar Tree. They're not they're not the strongest trap. They're not the highest quality, but they get the job done. I absolutely have used those. I use those actually at work. When I was in the Navy and I worked in a building, they had moved us, they were doing a renovation, and they had moved us to this little kind of ghetto building that was older, not maintained, not really being taken care of. And there was a mouse problem right away. We were coming in and I immediately saw there's droppings every day on the copier paper, all this stuff. I'm like, no, that's not gonna work for me. Started bringing in these little Dollar Tree mouse traps and just taking care of them. And finally they just moved away. Either I killed them all or because I just did this consecutively over several days, and either I got them all or the rest, they finally got the hint and left and never came back, right? Never saw a dropping again. But there's a lot of cool stuff on the market out there. There's bigger traps. You know, there's humane stuff if you're trying to trap it and take it out to the woods, whatever. I don't care, whatever your jam is. It doesn't matter. What's important right now is that you're thinking about these things and you're getting those things. You're getting those sprays. You're getting those whatever it is that you need to get to handle these things and protect your, because what it comes down to is you're protecting your food. You're protecting your preserved food. Depending on how you're keeping the preserved food really matters, right? It matters if, like, you can't just, let's say, for example, people put stuff in Mylar bags and then maybe just put that on a shelf. You cannot do that. You have to, if you're putting food in Mylar bags, that Mylar bag needs to be put into a tote or some kind of plastic container, airtight container, whatever. But another container that's much harder for mice to get into, to penetrate, to even chew through, because that Mylar material, they're chewing through that like crazy. Even food that you buy from the store, you know, we're getting away from preserved foods like this, but I see pantries all day long that have tons of like box food that came in like a box, cardboard box or a bag or whatever, from the store, and people are not preserving it. They're just putting this food on these shelves like, okay, good, we're saving food. One, that's not the way that you preserve food or save food or get food like that to last the longest that it can possibly last, okay? But I digress, okay? But that type of packaging is super easy for rodents and stuff to get into, bite into, and get into. You know, when you talk about ants and little insects, they don't need much space at all to just get into something, and then they're just eating it, and you're looking at it like it's fine. Or you talk about a mouse who will just chew through, or a rat that'll just chew through the box or chew through the package and just tear it up, okay? So super important that you get prepared and have this stuff and get it now while you can, okay? Next thing I have, rodents. Oh, another thing with rodents, this could be outside stuff like squirrels. You know, squirrels, I don't mind squirrels, I don't mind birds, but if you have something outside, you know, they're gonna take advantage of it, right? Even me, I'll put out seed for the birds, let's say, like, okay, I'm gonna keep the birds on the seed, and then the squirrels will come down and try to get it, or the squirrels will try to, you know, if you've got chickens, you know, any kind of little animals, if they can get to stuff, they're going to try to get to stuff. So just really be thinking about where you're putting stuff, how you're putting stuff, and what do you have to take care of it. You know, I got a neighbor, you know, I'm pretty sure it's illegal, but she's always like hush about, like, don't say anything, don't tell nobody, but she be trapping squirrels, right? And it's not so she can eat them, you guys. It's just because they annoy her and she's older and she's like, I'm going to get these squirrels. I'm going to kill them. And so I guess she's over there killing squirrels. I don't know. I went over there one time and there's like a big old trap, like a trap. I don't know how she's dispatching them, because the trap looked like, you know, like a humane trap. She's trapping them in this big thing. So I don't know what she's doing after that. Okay, so next thing, smaller nuisance type animals. So this is stuff like possums, raccoons. This is even like feral cats. All those nocturnal type animals that come out at night, hang out at night, looking for trash, looking for cat food or dog food or whatever food that's outside that's easily available. This could be livestock food. Whatever has been left out, and they're scavenging, they're looking for it, they're trying to get it. And they're not, some of them could be not really life-threatening type animals, but they're a nuisance. They're a pain, because you might have something and you have this thing that's trying to break into stuff, get into stuff, and get to food, or get to items, right? Or get to the trash, or whatever it is, or get to the garden even, right, where the food is. So this is several things. This is several animals, and they're just a super pain. But there's a lot of stuff that you can get now on the market to handle those things. Yes, there's some poisons, there's some sprays, there's humane traps, of course. There's sonar type devices that you can get put in the ground that will dispel them. Oh, another really good one, since I thought a sonar, because we have sonar for these, and that's your moles and your voles. Super annoying once you get them. Will tear up your whole yard. I mean, we're not growing grass here. The plan is not to grow grass. The plan is to just continue to make the garden go. But they're annoying, because guess what? They don't just come up in grass, you guys. If you've got a garden area, they'll come up through that rock. They'll come up through a bed. They'll come up through bark, or, you know, whatever. They come up everywhere. Voles typically stay at the edge line of the sidewalk, right? If there's a sidewalk or an edging, that's what they like. So even like the curb of the street, they like the straight lines, and they'll just go down that. That's how they do their tunneling, where moles are just tunneling all over, and they'll just pop up everywhere. And so, but there's a lot of stuff you can get. Like I said, we've got some sonar stuff. Sonar's a little bit louder, right? It's got a beeping sound. Might not be cool for everybody, but it's an option, okay? But those small, annoying type animals, how do you prepare now to take care of those? Because let me tell you, we go into an SHTF thing, we go into a famine, we go into whatever catastrophe type event, you're going to have more of these animals desperate for food. Everybody's going to be desperate for food. And so you're going to have these creatures coming out, being more aggressive, trying to get food, desperate for food. They're desperate to feed their families just like you're desperate to feed yours, okay? And so they can be dangerous. You know, feral cats, you know, I learned my lesson. This whole video, I feel like is like, this happened to me, this happened to me. But when we first retired from the Navy, got back to the house, right? And the cat had been here with my sister that was staying here in the house. And we come back, and I'm like, oh, the cat's been hanging out like in the front. And so I started feeding her in the front. Like that's kind of where she was hanging out. It was kind of a new thing. And we were back, and I was like, okay, I just want to make sure she's getting food and taking her food. And it's like one night, you know, my nephew comes home and he's like, Titi, there's like 15 cats out front right now. And I was like, what? And I went up there, and all these neighborhood cats, feral cats, whatever, they were all there getting there. And it was just, you guys, it wasn't like there was a bunch of food out there. It was a little tiny gold tray with a little bit of cat food. It wasn't that much. And here was 15 cats trying to get food. Okay, so that's what it's going to be. And imagine SHTF, people can't feed their animals. So you're going to have more people letting their animals go, abandoning their animals. And those animals now are going to become feral and be looking for stuff. And you've got to protect yourself. You've got to protect your property. Try to fortify it in a way that these animals, some of the animals can't get in. I mean, obviously some of them you can't stop because they can jump, they can, climb, whatever. But some of them can't. So there is some stuff you can do to keep certain things out, especially let's say a feral dog. If you have fencing, you should be able to keep something bigger like that out, okay? But it's hard with some of these other animals. The next one I have is your larger stuff, and that's your life-threatening. And this is life-threatening to you. This is life-threatening to your livestock. So this is, eagles, owls from above for your chickens, right? This is, coyotes. This is bears. This is bobcats and different types of cats. This is the bad stuff, the stuff that, can be life-threatening, right? If you run across it, depending on where you live, could be a moose, could be, so it depends. You should do research where you live to find out what is the livestock around you. I would say that if you live in a suburban area, especially if you're kind of on the outskirts, you're not really rural, but you're kind of on the outskirts, you should be right now making sure that you understand the livestock, the wildlife that is in your region, okay? Because again, as things happen, as famine happens, more hunting's happening, less people, less food, people foraging, everybody's fighting for the same resources, and wildlife is going to come out. Wildlife is going to be looking for stuff. They're going to venture out farther and farther. And that could possibly be, I see on my Ring notifications all the time about people complaining, probably every day, about people complaining about, I seen a bobcat, I seen a coyote, another coyote, a pack of coyotes, crazy videos of these animals. And this is in our area. This isn't, something I saw on the internet, right? So they're coming out more and more and more. They're coming down out of the wild and trying to find food and trying to find resources and trying to find stuff, right? So coyotes, let me see, just make sure I got everything. And then the animals, I talked about the feral animals. It's a big deal because feral cats and dogs can be kind of not a big deal, and they're just free animals, right? That are looking for food, and they're not really a danger to very, very dangerous because they are starving, and because they get into these packs, and because they really, really, really want to ensure they're eating. They're just like people. They become marauders, raiders, and that's what they're doing as a group. And so you have to be thinking about that. Some of this stuff is fortification. It's, yeah, get your traps, get your poison sprays, whatever it is to deal with stuff like this, to chase them away, to chase them from your property, stuff like a bear, stuff like that. Animals, you have different animal sprays that you can carry to help you for defensively helping you with that situation. You know, different things you can do for these smaller things like a fox, a coyote, and knowing how to scare them off, how your family can scare them off, making sure kids know how to do that. You know, a coyote and a small child, that's nothing. I mean, they will pounce in a heartbeat, okay? So don't think because it's a smaller animal, it's not a threat. It absolutely can be a threat. And so you have to ensure that these animals can't get into your home, that they can't find a way into under your home, around your home, into your chicken coop, into your barns, into your livestock areas. You've got to use fencing, strong fencing, maybe possibly high fencing for some of these things, having layers of barriers, okay, so layers of fencing, strong doors, strong windows, different deterrents around your house and your property as far as prickly bushes and different things like that. I mean, there's a lot you can do, but the bigger the animal gets or the more dangerous the animal is, you've got to be thinking about defense and how do you defend that, and how you possibly might have to take that animal down. Additionally, depending on where you live, rurally, whatever, you need to know the laws, and you need to understand what animals are endangered and which ones you can't just kill. Like, you can only kill if your life is in danger, right? And those laws are strict, you guys, when it comes to animals. So you can't just be like, oh, well, it was coming after me and was trying to kill me. I mean, they're going to be asking you questions, right? And so it's got to be a legal kill. So think about that stuff, right? Think about what weapons you would need if you did want to take something down, if you did need to take something down, right? It's a big a thought, but as we move forward into a chaotic world, a chaotic, catastrophes are going to start happening, and they're going to domino, and it's going to get bad. And animals is something that nobody's going to be thinking about, but are going to be super, super dangerous for us. And so right now, while you can buy the things, you can get those things, from that little tiny ant to dealing with a bear, right? Or dealing with a moose. I mean, that's serious business when you get into some of these bigger animals, okay? But there's a ton of stuff in between that can be a total pain in the butt, can be a bad day for you, can get into your food supplies, and, can dwindle that down to where you think you have a certain amount and you don't. Again, super important while we inventory, while we organize, while you're always putting eyes on preps, while you're rotating those into a normal rotation. But like me, if you are somebody who has a longer term storage, you have that rainy day storage, it's like, we're not opening this for 25 years. Like, it's the long term, right? You've got to put eyes on that stuff, right? Because it's not part of your everyday, rotation of pantry. You don't have eyes on it a lot. You've got to make an effort to put eyes on that and really organize and look at that stuff to make sure, so that you can see right away if it's being tampered with, something's gotten into something, something's bit through something, whatever the case may be. And remember, these animals can get into stuff. You see a tote, right, that has some food, but if you don't put that tote in a safe area, in a secure area, okay, yeah, maybe you've fortified it enough to where a mouse can't get into it. But have you fortified it enough that a coyote or a raccoons have fingers, man, and they use that and pop something off, and then they're into some food. So think about that. Think about, oh, well, it's totes. I'm just going to keep this outside and this underneath this carport area, and the temperatures are okay, and it's dry and whatever. And this is my spot for my food, and it's in a tote and it's fine. You need to think about that. Also, bears, their smell is amazing. And so they're smelling that from miles and miles and miles. And now you have something that's just like, hey, come here, come to my house. And so it's important to lock everything up. It's important to not have food outside for your animals, no cat food, no dog food. The livestock food, you feed your livestock, and then that's it. There's not tons of livestock around or food around, so that you don't attract animals like, hey, it smells like food over here, let's go over here. And then you need to deter them. So have your property set up to where you have things that will deter them and stop them from just being able to just bulldoze in and go straight to something and destroy property and destroy, you know, food and getting into stuff. So, and possibly hurting your family or a member of your livestock family. So just stuff to think about. I know this is not fun and glamorous type of you know, topic, but this is what it's about. This is what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start doing these maybe more mundane stuff, but everyday stuff that is important when it comes to preparedness and homesteading. We're going to be doing both preparedness and homesteading. I think they go hand in hand. I think there's one and the same. I think the goal for somebody who prepares in general is thinking about the future, thinking about being self-sufficient, doing stuff for yourself, not depending on others. And so they go together. Okay. I think somebody that homesteads should be stockpiling, should be preparing, should have the things that I talk about that a prepper would talk about, should have those things as well, just like anybody else. They go together, okay? So I hope you guys are well today. I hope you guys are doing well in the chat and not too bored over this topic and listening to me ramble about it. And that you guys been talking to each other and having a good time. Happy Friday. I hope you have a great, great weekend. And I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next video. Take care.